Wayne Mardle, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Josh's Dartistry. It's episode 17 of the JDP. It's been nearly 2 months, I think, since we last recorded. So apologies to you, the JDP listener. We'll explain why that's been the case very, very shortly. It's been so long; it took me a while to set the equipment up this evening, gents. I've forgotten how to set the mixer up and the computer and all sorts. So. Bit out of the habit, but anyway, we're back, and let's introduce you to the team. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence, it's Josh Gorton. How are you, Josh?
I'm very well, thank you, John. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. Right now, reason number one, we've not been around much recently. You've been a very busy boy, haven't you?
I have, John. Obviously, it's been a busy few months in the darting world. The World Matchplay just finished a week or so ago. I was very busy covering that. It was a great tournament, and we'll be covering that later on. So, yeah, apologies for my absence.
Okay, so Josh is number one reason to blame. Number two reason to blame, on my left-hand side, it's Mr. Neil Connor. How are you, Neil?
I'm very well, thank you.
Neil, you've not been around much either, have you?
I haven't, but let's get to the crux of the matter, please. We've gone 2 months without a show because John has disappeared post 1st of June.
Yeah, that's right. 1st of June saw the Champions League final. My fantastic Tottenham side entertaining.
Fantastic and entertaining was not how I would have described them on the evening of that.
I didn't get to see the final. I had a gig with my band, Roundabout Zoo, at Roundabout Zoo on Twitter. So I didn't get to see the game apart from the last sort of 10 minutes. Obviously, I was kept up to date on my phone with how it was going. But listen, many congratulations to Liverpool. I think you're always favourites to win it, but and well done for doing so. But as a showpiece and a final. The feedback I've had, Neil, is it wasn't really up to much.
No, it wasn't a good final. I think a 3-week gap between the end of the Premier League and the Champions League final is too much. The problem is that a lot of the other leagues, I think Serie A and La Liga, finished a week before the final, so that's why we have to wait. But normally you disappear for 48 hours after a game. This time you disappeared for 2 months. So congratulations.
So many congratulations to Liverpool. Sorry, Josh, we're just having a Champions League chat over here. I know it doesn't concern
fine.
you.
Yeah, I'm not interested in football discussions.
As an Arsenal fan, it's probably something that you're not used to. But many congratulations to Liverpool and all the Liverpool fans. And we'll be back this year as long as we sign another couple of players and Levy takes his hand out of his pocket. Hopefully, Neil, any incomings at Liverpool? I see you've signed a goalkeeper this evening.
We have Simon Mignolet has gone to Bruges, so we've got Adrian in from West Ham, which is good. I think our squad is okay. Maybe a number 10, maybe another versatile forward, but from what I saw yesterday, I was happy.
And Josh, going back to Arsenal, we're absolutely throwing money around at the moment, if press reports are to be believed.
Well, I think a lot of it's in instalments, John. So I don't think we actually spent that much because, we're a little bit hard up, I believe. But we need a few defenders because it's like Benny Hill at the back.
Okay, yeah, so the football season is kicking off. But we are not here to discuss football, dear listener. For those of you avid darts fans, let's get back into the meat and drink of the JDP. Josh, we've got a lot to discuss. Last time we recorded, prior to June, we were just coming up to the World Cup of Darts. Now, obviously, that's been and gone, and we're not going to waste anyone's time on that. But so much has gone on, hasn't it, over the last 2 months since we last did a show?
Yeah, busy period off with the World Cup of Darts, which was won by Scotland. Then we've had lots of activity on the Pro Tour, on the European Tour, but obviously most recently was the World Matchplay at the Winter Gardens. Always one of the highlights of the darting year, that one. Really,
really good tournament. Neil, did you manage to catch much of the Matchplay this year?
Yeah, I did. I saw a fair amount of it. So I was at home a lot whilst it was on. So enjoyed it.
Excellent stuff. So, we'll be having a quick roundup on the match play and a discussion about what went down. Josh, I also believe you're going to have a chat with Wayne Mardle this evening, yeah?
I'm indeed just obviously going to speak to Wayne, get his thoughts on the match play. A lot of talking points involving the likes of Rob Cross, Michael van Gerwen. Obviously then get his thoughts on the rest of the year. Busy second half of the year. Obviously the Grand Prix, Grand Slam of Darts. lots of, obviously, the World Championship then later on in the year, so plenty of activity on the darting calendar to come.
Talking of interviews and celebrity guests, we're also going to have someone else on the phone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have the return to the JDP of Twitter legend Oche Balboa. Oche's been very vocal on social media, particularly on a lot of BDO issues recently, and we're going to get Oche on to give us his opinion. His opinion is always valued and entertaining and informative. So we're going to get Oche on for a little chat on the phone a little bit later. Josh, loads going down in the world of BDO at the moment, isn't there?
I know it's been a very busy couple of weeks. Obviously, quite a lot of negativity surrounding the BDO, but over the last week or so, there's been a few announcements over some different tournaments, some new venues. So hopefully some more positive times for where the BDO fans are concerned.
Okay, after we've had a chat with Oche, Neil, we're going to look ahead, aren't we, to some of the upcoming events. You're going to bring us some odds. I believe there's quite a lot happening across the World Series this month.
Yeah, so I think we'll look at the odds of the Brisbane Darts Masters, and I think we'll also have a look at the BDO World Trophy, which I think is at the start of September.
And I would imagine, Neil, that after we've had a big tournament like the Matchplay, that's probably affected the odds for the World Champs, hasn't it?
Yeah, we can certainly have a look at that. I think with Rob Cross's fine performance, I would imagine that he will be slightly shorter odds than he may have been before that.
Okay, Neil, you're also going to lead us, as you always do, on Challenge Josh. I hope you've got something lined up for us this evening.
I've got 6 pages of questions lined up.
Oh my good! You know I've got to go to work tomorrow morning. You know that, don't you? I can't be here all night.
So yeah, we're going to have a bit of fun with that. I'm just deciding what format we'll go for, but I think it'll be a fun one tonight.
Okay, and then as ever, we'll cover off any news items. Josh, when we put our agenda together for the show, I reckon 95% of the stuff we put together was regarding the BDO, and I imagine we'll probably get all of that off of our chest when we have a chat with Oche, won't we?
I think so, as you said, John, we've all got work in the morning, so we can't be talking too much, but there's lots, obviously, PDC and BDO, plenty of news to cover, yep.
And then we will finish the show, as ever, with our Q&A section. Josh, I think we've had quite a few questions coming in recently, haven't we?
Yeah, quite a lot of questions. Again, a lot of talking points surrounding both the PDC and BDO, so plenty to discuss.
Wonderful, wonderful. That will finish episode 17 of the show. Don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes. You can check us out on Stitcher, if you've got the Stitcher app as well for Android phone. Josh always uploads a video version to his YouTube account. And, of course, you can always get a streaming version on Josh's website, www.joshsdartistry.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, at Josh's Dartistry. Josh, much gone up on the website recently?
I did a roundup of the Players' Championship over the weekend, which we'll be discussing later on in the show. Did a little bit of preview content for the World Matchplay. We had a discussion with Paul Nicholson, which was really good. Yeah,
we managed to get out a mini podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, we weren't able to record. I think we were all quite busy in the week leading up to the Matchplay, but obviously great to get Paul's views on the Matchplay, then also on obviously his career, and he's taken a break in 2019, going to Q School in 2020, so we caught up with Paul there. So yeah, that's roughly the most recent uploads on the website.
Who was that interview with?
Paul Nicholson.
This is Paul Nicholson, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Yeah, so a big thank you for Paul for coming on the show and having a chat with Josh and enabling us to give you a little bit of content at least for July, just to tide you over until we manage to come on to episode number 17. Okay, with all that said, let's begin the show.
I feel happy, won't you call me on the telephone? In the morning, won't you call me on the telephone?
Call the boys on 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329 and leave them a message.
This is Jamie Caven, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay then, guys, it's time to have a little chat, a little roundup about what's been going on in the world of darts. Josh, obviously the World Matchplay is probably the most prominent tournament we've had in recent weeks. Do you want to give us a roundup?
Yeah, well, obviously the World Matchplay, John, probably apart from the World Championship, the highlight of the darting calendar, really. Top 32 players in the world, 16 of the top players on the Pro Tour Order of Merit, 16 of the world's top on the PDC Order of Merit, all duking it out. And we saw a new winner on the Cup this year in the name of Rob Cross, winning his second PDC major title, becoming just the fourth player in PDC history to have won both the World Championship and World Matchplay title. So, fantastic week for Voltage.
Can we finally put to bed the Rob Cross one-hit wonder talks?
Absolutely. I think, irrespective of whether he won another major, I think we could. I mean, you look at his seasonal average. I think he's averaging 98 for the entire year. Only Michael van Gerwen is averaging more. So, he's been very consistent throughout the year without really getting the rewards in major tournaments. But He was very consistent throughout the week in Blackpool. Had a little bit of good fortune against Daryl Gurney, which we'll probably touch on a little bit later on. But he was very consistent throughout the week and the best player. So congratulations to him. Fantastic win.
Neil, we touched on it earlier, but you managed to watch the match play and especially the final.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because it looked like it was just going to be a steamroller to victory, and then Smith, something just seemed to click for Smith, and it got very, very interesting. And I think there was one or two legs that had Smith have been able to finish. He would have got very, very close, and I think it would have been much closer than the final score ended up. So it's good. I think we thought, and I think we've commented on the past, that Rob Cross would have found his first year as world champion very difficult because of everything that goes with it. And I think now that that's off his back, I think he's been able to relax and settle down this year, and he's played some really fine darts at times.
So, Josh, success for Rob Cross, but early exits for some of the star names. I'm really thinking about Van Gerwen and of course Gary Anderson.
Yeah, Michael van Gerwen, since winning back-to-back titles in Blackpool in 2015 and 2016, it's not really been a happy hunting ground for him. He lost in the first round to Jeffrey Deswan last year, and he came into this tournament under a little bit of pressure, a little bit of scrutiny, which is unusual for Michael, because since his Premier League win in May, he hasn't really hit the heights. He's had a disappointing World Cup of Darts, didn't win any of the first two World Series events, and hasn't really been playing on the Pro Tour. So he was unconvincing against Steve Beaton, won that. I think he missed 28 darts at double, though, in victory. Then obviously met Glenn Durrant, the two world champions collide in the second round, and Glenn outplayed him. Michael showed patches of his brilliance. I think he came back from 8-5 down to level at 9-all. But in the latter stages, he sort of it fell apart a little bit, missed a few key doubles, and Glenn was more composed, that's what surprised me. Not the fact that he was outplayed, but the lack of composure from Michael. So yeah, another early exit, and I think that's 12 games in a row now without 100 plus average for Michael, which is almost unthinkable, really.
And although Darren probably doesn't need a confidence booster because he has started his PDC career absolutely flying, fantastic. But if you're looking for a booster in the PDC, putting MVG to bed, you can't ask for more than that, can you, Josh?
Exactly. I mean, they'd already met once on the Pro Tour, and Durrant won that one 7-2 as well. So he's got 100% record against Michael van Gerwen in the PDC, which not many people can boast. But yeah, brilliant week for Glenn Durrant, beating Adrian Lewis, Michael van Gerwen and James Wade, three major PDC champions. So you can't get much better than that.
Neil, Durrant could be becoming a bit of a bogeyman for Michael van Gerwen, a bit of a fly in the ointment.
Yeah, I think it's quite possible. It must be a bit disconcerting when you go up against the same opponent and you lose consecutive matches. So it must, I don't know, difficult to know with Michael van Gerwen whether it would weigh on his mind or not. I think we've spoken about Rob Cross and him being a little bit like that when he plays van Gerwen himself. So let's see how it pans out for the rest of the year. I'd like to see them play at Ali Pali, Durrant and MVG to see where that would end up.
Josh, let's have a look at some performances for perhaps some other players in the tournament. Somebody who stuck out for me, who's not had a great start to the year, but all of a sudden seems to be coming on strong. Snakebite Peter Wright seems to have found a bit of good form recently.
Yeah, he's been absolutely superb. He came into the Winter Gardens on the run of, I think, about 17 or 18 consecutive wins, won the World Series event, won back-to-back Pro Tour titles. Played beautifully at the World Matchplay. I mean, he averaged over 100 and beating Vincent van der Vaart, over 100 and beating Simon Whitlock. Obviously lost to Daryl Gurney in the quarters, but averaged 104 over like 29 legs. So you can't criticise the performance. Daryl Gurney was just clinical against him. But yeah, Peter Wright now is probably, along with Rob Cross, obviously, who's won the tournament, probably the most informed player in the PDC.
It's funny, isn't it, Peter Wright? As soon as the Premier League ends, he, by his own admission, not had a great Premier League campaign, and as soon as that tournament's over, he starts to find a bit of form. What do you put that down to?
Difficult to say. He has run into form. Why it suddenly clicked? I don't know with the Premier League, because Michael Smith's another one that he had a poor Premier League campaign and then all of a sudden he's found himself in another major final. I don't know if once the die is cast in the Premier League and you realise that you're not going to make the top four, whether you just become a little bit stale as a result. So I don't know. Maybe once the Premier League's over, it's like a fresh start for people and they kick on. But certainly Wright, Smith and Cross, or Cross play well in the Premier League as well, but they're all in good form at a good time of the year.
Josh, any other standout performances from the match play that you wanted to discuss?
I think a few good and bad, really, John. I think one, obviously, Daryl Gurney lost in the semi-finals. He'll be bitterly disappointed to have lost, obviously, 14-7 and 15-9 up against Rob Cross. He seemed on the verge of reaching the final, then lost. But really another consistent tournament from Daryl Gurney. He's still world number 3, so he's knocking on the door every major he's a contender for. Stephen Bunting, brilliant to see Stephen Bunting back, playing his best darts on the TV. Beat Ian White from 9-4 down in round 2, having beaten Gerwin Price. He was one of the favourites in the first round.
A lot of people talking about Gerwin Price prior to the tournament, saying that this was the kind of tournament that's made for someone like Price. You know, a game a day, and a lot of people backing Price.
Yeah, longer formats as well. I think he obviously won the Grand Slam, which is a similar sort of format in terms of legs. So I fancy Price to come through from the bottom half. But yeah, Bunting took care of him in a tiebreaker in the first round, and obviously he almost beat Rob Cross in the quarterfinals. I think he was 9-4 down in that one as well. Got it back to 10-all and lost 16-14, and that was with Cross hitting, I think, a 10-dart leg followed by a 13-darter to win it. So, yeah, great to see Stephen Bunting back to some good form. Not so good a tournament for Gary Anderson. Lost in the second round to Mervyn King, who was also very impressive. King beat Aspinall, obviously UK Open champion in the first round. Then knocked out Gary Anderson, obviously then lost to Michael Smith in the quarterfinal. But could see Mervyn King reaching, I think, just his third TV quarterfinal in about 2 years. So, yeah, good week for the King. Anderson looked a little bit undercooked, I think. He hasn't been playing much on the circuit. He hasn't played off any European Tour events for a number of years now. Played a few Pro Tour events, but since winning the World Cup, Anderson's gone off the ball a little bit.
Okay, well, Rob Cross is your World Matchplay champion. Josh, what else has been going on in the world of darts? I'm just having a look down. Players' Championship, 21 and 22. What can you tell us about those tournaments?
Yep, just last weekend we had another Players' Championship doubleheader, this time taking place in Hildesheim, Germany, not the usual Barnsley or Wigan. So there was a number of top players missing. I think the likes of Michael van Gerwen, Rob Cross, Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, Daryl Gurney, Gerwin Price and James Wade all absent. Obviously they've got their World Series commitments down under to take care of, so they were all absent. Players' Championship 21 on Saturday was won by Krzysztof Ratajski, winning his 5th PDC title in just 18 months, which is an incredible achievement. He beat Dimitri van den Berg in the final. Van den Berg, incredibly, still has not won a ranking PDC title. So Ratajski now into the world's top 32 for the first time, so congratulations to him. And Sunday we saw Brendan Dolan win his first PDC title for almost 5 years, beating Jermaine Wattimena in the final.
That's an incredible stat, really. First one in 5 years.
It is. I mean, I think between 2013 and 2014, Dolan was one of the most consistent floor performers. He was in the world's top 16 for a period, but he's really struggled over the last couple of years. Got to the World Championship quarterfinals last year, which obviously boosted his ranking a little bit. And he's shown patches of form this year, Dolan. That's a massive win for him. And he was quite emotional in his interview afterwards with Dan Dawson. I think he said the day before he'd lost, averaging about 82, and he was on the verge of quitting. And I think his wife gave him a little bit of a good talking to. And he came back the next day and wins it. So an incredible turnaround for Dolan. So yeah, really pleased for him.
Ratajski did quite well on Sunday as well, didn't he? I think he got through to the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals, yeah. I believe he lost to Cody Harris. Cody plays on the Challenge Tour primarily, but obviously due to all the big name absentees, I think there was 20 tour card holders absent this weekend. So a number of Challenge Tour players were invited to compete, one of them being Cody Harris. And yeah, he reached the semi-final before losing to Dolan. So brilliant run for Harris, but obviously he'll be competing in the New Zealand Masters and the World Series next month, so good preparation for that.
Talking of which, Josh, they're the tournaments that have been and gone. Let's look forward then. Tell us what's coming up over the next month or so on the darting calendar.
Well, in terms of the Pro Tour, we've got a bit of a summer break now, John. I think the next European Tour event takes place on August the 30th in Vienna, which will be the Austrian Darts Championship. It's really just World Series events now down under. We've got the Brisbane Darts Masters starting this week, followed by the Melbourne Darts Masters a week later, and then the New Zealand Darts Masters. So we've got obviously the Michael van Gerwen, Rob Cross, Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, Daryl Gurney all competing, usual suspects. Raymond van Barneveld, James Wade have been given wild cards, and then we've got the likes of Corey Cadby, Carl Anderson, Simon Whitlock, amongst other regional qualifiers competing. So yep, 3 events down under.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those, especially being a big fan of Cadby. Looking forward to see how Cadby gets on against some of the top players in the game. Neil, I think you'll probably be touching on some of those events, won't you? When we have a look at the odds, won't you?
Yeah, I think we'll look ahead to this weekend in the Brisbane Darts Masters.
Okie dokes. Well, that is your darting roundup, and yeah, we look forward to the forthcoming events. And on the next episode, we'll let you know what happens.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for the latest news and insight to the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329. Leave us a message and we may play it on air. Now back to the show.
Hi, this is Diogo Portela, and you're listening to Josh Dartistry.
Okay, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me enormous pleasure to welcome back to the show friend of the JDP and all-round Twitter legend. It's Oche Balboa. How are you, Chris?
I'm not bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're all good here, mate. We're all good. Listen, we thought we'd get you on for this episode 17, because obviously you're a massive darts fan yourself. I always enjoy reading your Twitter feed. There's been a lot going on in the world of darts in the last few weeks. We won't just stick on the BDO, but we can't ignore it. There's been so much going on in the BDO, but we'll come on to that in a moment. Chris, how have you been?
Yeah, that's been good. Everything's been going well. Yeah, can't complain really.
Good. Before we get into the darts, I'm sure Neil was foaming at the mouth to have a chat with you about football. Big West Brom fan. How's the pre-season build-up been?
It's been great. Well, we won our first game on Saturday, 2-1 against Forest, so that was a good result. It was a bit unexpected because I didn't think we'll beat Forest, so it's a good start.
Yeah, Chris, it's Neil. I don't think the Forest goalkeeper expected the winner either, because wasn't it from a cross?
Yeah, it was. It was meant for a cross. Matt Phillips, it was poor goalkeeping.
Yeah.
But there was poor goalkeeping all around because we should have kept out their goal, really. And it was poor from Johnston.
So it was like, did they play well, or I didn't see the game? I think it was on, wasn't it?
I only watched bits of it because I was elsewhere. But we were a very assured performance, and I was quite impressed.
Yeah, I think you've got a decent manager there, mate. I always thought he was good when he was at West Ham. He talks a lot of sense when he's on TV. So
yeah, I hope so. It's just the fact that does he know the Championship? That's the only thing I've got a theory on. But yeah, I think he'll be really good for us if he can get the 2 or 3 players that he needs in. Then I think we could be up there in the top 6, no problem.
Has Dwight Gow moved on? Is he? I'm not sure whose
No,
player he
he's
is.
still at Newcastle.
Okay.
But I don't know what's going on, really.
Because he's the type of player you need, isn't he? Because he is a proven Championship goal scorer. So no, I think Bilic will be good. I think he's a motivator and a man manager. So I've got a sneaky feeling for you again, and also for Leeds this year.
Yes, I think Leeds. I think Forest will be up there. I think Huddersfield will be up there. I think it'll be wide open. I think there could be a shock winner again, like last year. I mean, Norwich won the league, and I think there'll be a shock winner again.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
as we speak, Huddersfield have just got a goal back at home to Derby. They're 2-1 down. Derby got 2 quick goals, and Huddersfield have just got a penalty. So,
good, yeah. Derby another one. That's an interesting one.
I think Koku's the new manager there.
Right. Anyway, let's knock the football chat on the head, shall we? Let's get on to the reason why we've got you on, Oche. Let's talk about darts, mate. Listen, before we go BDO heavy, let's talk about the World Matchplay. Did you manage to catch much of it, mate?
Yeah, I caught quite a lot of it. I thought there was a lot of good performances. I thought Bob Cross deserved to win it. I thought Smith. I made a prediction about 4 or 5 years ago that he'd never win anything, but I think he will. I think he's getting closer. He's knocking on the door, and his talent will let him through eventually. Once he wins one, he'll win about 4 or 5.
There was a lot of chat when he won the PDC Worlds for the first time. There was a lot of chat, people saying that he might be a one-hit wonder, but I think he might have hopefully put that kind of chat to bed for a little while.
Yeah, he will. He'll win one, even if it's like a so-called minor one, like World Series or Darts Finals. He'll win one, and that propel him onto another level. He's getting there. Getting there.
Chris, sorry, in terms of Michael Smith, what do you put this down to? These slow starts in his last 2 major finals, because he obviously started slowly at the Worlds and then had a shocking start in this tournament. Do you think it's down to nerves or just coincidence?
Yes, I do. I think it's a big factor for him, and I think the mental ability will get better, and he'll go to one of these finals, and like he did in the semis against Glenn Durrant, his talent will just be right through, and he'll be about 6-0 up, and he would have done the hard work before thinking about getting, I'm in a final. I think he'll be fine.
I agree. I think even in this final, I mean, he was close to being within 2 legs, I think, or was within 2 legs at one stage.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was playing beautifully, but
Too much work to do.
yeah.
Hi, Chris. It's Josh here. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. You mentioned there Glenn Durrant when you were talking about Michael Smith. Obviously, we know Glenn Durrant from his BDO days. We know you're a big fan of his. Obviously, great run to the semi-finals in Blackpool. What do you make of his start to life in the PDC? Very impressive, isn't it?
I think he's been really impressive. I think the weight of expectation and the weight of people on social media and forums and everything like that has been really a bit uncalled for. Some of the things, he can't make it in the PDC, he's not good enough, or he'll struggle to get a tour card when he almost didn't get one.
Mm.
I think he's took to it really well, like I expected, and if he becomes a seed at the Adi Pally, that's job done. As far as the first year is concerned, it's a bonus, and he's done fantastically well.
Yeah. I think we've all enjoyed Durrant's rise up the ranks in his first year. It's really good to see. It's really good to see the doubters put in their place over BDO players attempting to make the step up. Long may it continue. He's a lovely guy. He's a lovely fella. Yeah. Great personality, and of course on the JDP we wish Durrant all the best for the rest of the year. Chris, let's move it on to some BDO chat. A lot of stuff coming out of the BDO in the last few weeks. Let's try and take it in some sort of chronological order. The BDO World Trophy. I noted on Twitter you were doing a countdown to the announcement of the venue, which made us all chuckle. But we have that announcement. We're going to the King George's Hall in Blackburn at the start of September, mate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, August the 30th it starts. I'm glad they've got a venue sorted. I don't know how many tickets they'll sell, but I'm glad the venue's sorted, and I'm glad it's on telly, it's on Eurosport and Quest. So hopefully it'll be a good tournament.
£34,500 prize pot, Oche, with 8k going to the winner and $4,000 to the runner-up.
Yes, it's not great, is it? But the right word. What's the right word to say?
Keep it clean, mate. Keep it clean.
It's not good. It's not a good prize fund for the players. But these players are playing on television. They're playing on stage. They're getting more experience. The sponsors might come. So it's not bad on that front. But $8,000 really to win a televised tournament. It's not. It's pitiful, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Josh, I've not had a look online. I don't know what the tickets are selling for on the website. Do you know, or Chris, do you know about the ticket pricing?
I'm not too sure, but I think the problem is when you announce a venue 40 days before a tournament, people have made plans. You're not going to get a sellout with such short notice. I think that's the issue.
Yeah, they did the same mistake last year in Preston, where Durham played Unter Buckner in the final. Great game. Durham won 10-7, and there was about 30 people in the crowd, including myself. Preston at the Guildhall. It's a great venue, but nobody there.
Yeah, you're right. It is a shame. But listen, it's another BDO televised tournament on Eurosport. Yeah. Let's all look forward to some quality darts and being able to watch that, and hopefully it will be a good turnout and a good show for the BDO. Chris, we also had some quite shocking news coming out of the BDO with regards to some of the officials and the referees walking out, which was quickly followed up by a statement from Des Jacklin. Do you want to tell us about that, mate?
Yes, the referees, all 4 of them, all resigned pretty much in sync within 24 hours. I don't know the full details of why they resigned, but I think it's something to do with sponsorship money. But I'm not sure about that. But but the statement that came out of Des Jacklin was awful. It was just like dismissing them like they're nothing, when really them 4 referees and Little Richard did a fantastic job, and I felt they deserved a bit more. There needs to be a bit more human factor from him when in that statement. Even if he's not happy about them going or whatever, just say, we wish you well on your future endeavours, and, that sort of thing. Just to say, I appreciate what you've done and, your future endeavours, and I wish you well in that. And that didn't come, and it was pretty. It wasn't very good.
So are these referees that have been about the BDO for some time? Are they sort of been loyal to the BDO, or are they recent appointments?
Well, Nick Rolls has been there for like 10 years. Anthony Dundas and Marco Major have been there for about 5 or 6 years, and Charlie Costafine's only done it for like 18 months. But but they're both all experienced.
Yeah.
They've done Charlie Custerfin's done BICC, the end of the county, so he's had a lot of experience. But they're not doing BDO, but they're still doing a lot of like EDO events or Dutch events or Scottish events or whatever. So it's just the BDO side of things that they're not doing. So they're staying in that side of the fence.
But as you say, just the human aspect of saying thanks for what you've done for us, and you never know. You know, there comes a time in the future where things change, and there may be a chance for them to come back, and that's going to leave a bit of a sour taste in their mouth.
Yeah, it is. It's just not good, and I wouldn't be very happy about it. It clearly leaves a slight at the end of the day, and it doesn't need to be. Even if the BDO board or whoever or Des is not happy about it, but just leave some human aspect to it, so make them feel appreciated, and you can build bridges in the future.
Exactly.
Josh, you made the point that when Des released the statement that when he was mentioning we've got some good replacements coming up, you were quite surprised and shocked at the speed of that announcement, that saying that they've got people ready to step in and replace them.
Yeah, because like I said, the announcement came out, I think, as Oche said there, they all resigned in sync, if you like, but it only became public knowledge, I think, and then 24 hours later, Des comes out and says they've got an overwhelming list of applications, including high-profile PDC referees. And I was thinking, which high-profile PDC referees are going to be making the switch to the BDO? With all due respect, I can't see that happening.
Maybe Russ Bray's going to make the transfer over. Can't see that happening myself, but you never know. You never know. Do you think?
None of them make the switch over because it's more voluntary stroke. You get paid while they get paid in the PDC. The all sorts of thing because I've heard a couple of names that could be MCing. So they like do exhibition events. I don't want to mention their names because it might not be true, but there's a few that do loads of exhibition events that have been rumoured to be MCing. But the announcement was supposed to be last week, but nothing's happened. So I don't know what's going on there.
All very strange. We'll see how that one plays out. Chris, we've got a couple of new venues to talk about for a couple of BDO tournaments. World Masters, obviously, to the returning to the Circus Tavern, a very famous venue, a very famous darting venue, and of course the World Champs not at the Lakeside and moving to the Indigo O2. Talk to us about that, buddy.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll start off with the World Masters. It's at the Circus Tavern. I'm glad there's a event at the Circus Tavern because it's iconic, even though it's a glorified strip club. But it's iconic, there's history there, and it's still fit for purpose, unlike Lakeside. I'll come to that in a bit. But I'm glad it's there, and it's something that I'm going to be going to one of the days at the World Masters, so at least I can say I've been to the Circus Tavern, so that's another one story.
When you're telling people at least I've been to the Circus Tavern, make sure you tell them you went for the darts and not the Daily Star strip show, all right? Josh is wincing over in the corner. Don't worry, Josh. I'll edit that bit out, shall I?
No, you're fine.
Okay, and of course that's all right, mate. Don't worry about that. It's all good. And of course the World's moving away from the Lakeside and to the Indigo O2.
I'm sad that it's leaving Lakeside because of how iconic it is and how great the history and the status and everything like that. But I think it's a good move because Lakeside it isn't in great shape anymore, and they needed to get away to get a fresh start. And I think the O2, well, it's not the O2, it's
Indigo, yeah.
Yeah, that's still It's a nice venue. It's a nice venue. There's like 1,600 seating. If they could sell that out, it'd be great.
How does that compare with the capacity at the Lakeside? Roughly how many did the Lakeside seat?
I think it's about 400, 500 more. I think Lakeside's just over 1,000.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's got to be a big marketing campaign, but there's a lot of people on board. Even the people in the O2 are on board with. They've got a database of 1,000 people, so they've got a good advertising campaign. So if that works, it'd be really good.
Chris, do you think it'll be difficult? Because obviously, even when I used to write reports, I'll often refer to it as the Lakeside World Championship. Lakeside has become like synonymous with the BDO World Championship. So, do you think that'll be difficult, or do you see the fact that obviously it's been now moved to central London and the transport links will be better, more accessible? Do you think that'll kind of outweigh the negatives of leaving Lakeside?
Yes. But it's going to get hard for people to get used to, because one thing that people say is the Lakeside or the Lakeside World Championships. Now people are going to say the BBDO World Championships now. Yeah. It shouldn't be called World Professional Darts Championships. That's just silly. I don't know why they do that, but yeah. But as for travelling, it'd be really. I think it'll be okay. Because it's central London, it's easy to get to. I think it might be easy to get to. I'm not too sure because I've never been. But...
Yeah, it's on the Jubilee line, North Greenwich. You literally come out of the station and it's about 30-second walk to the O2. So transport links are great.
Fantastic.
If you're trying to appeal to a new audience, I think the O2 and up, a established modern venue. Lots of positives.
And in terms of transport links, you've
got loads of bars and restaurants nearby. That's what I've heard. So it'd be really good.
Yeah, no, it's full of bars and restaurants. It's absolutely
thriving. Are there any strip clubs around?
Obviously, I wouldn't know that, John, and I won't comment as to why I've been to the Circus Tavern. Although I have been there for the darts, I have to say. But no strip clubs as far as I'm aware. But lots of restaurants, lots of bars, and a generally quite a thriving area.
Chris, has there been much comment on social media from the players themselves about the change of venue?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of players' comments, and they're quite happy about the change. I think a lot of people, they know about the Lakeside, about the nostalgia and everything, but I think it's time for a change. I mean, even Martin Adams has been saying it's time for a change, and he's been synonymous with Lakeside. So if he's saying it, then everybody else will as well, really. So yeah. They're positive about it.
Okay, great. Well, we've got all that to look forward to. Some new venues, and hopefully we'll all tune into that, and the BDO can have a better change in fortune and some positive press going forward. So
hopefully, because a stronger BDO will make a stronger PDC.
Oh, I agree. I mean, competition is always good. So hopefully, hopefully that will change. Chris, anything else you want to get off your chest, darts wise, while we've got you on?
Well. I mean, Barney's going to get into the world, so I can't really take the pee out of Josh on that.
Thank you for that, Chris. Thank you, mate.
That's definitely staying in that bit.
So apart from that, no, I can't think of anything else.
You can come back on when he gets knocked out in the first round, mate.
No, I think you have a good one.
Really?
I think you have a good one. I think there'll be something there for him. And he'll have a good one at Ali Pali. Last day.
Just needs to steer clear of
Labanauskas. Yeah.
Yes, he needs to stay clear of him and a couple of others. But I think he'll have a good one. I think there'll be something there. I think that's what he's preparing himself for, really. And that's why, I mean, I don't know how he did at the weekend, but again...
He was a bit unlucky. He lost to Smith 6-5 on the Saturday first round. Beat King first round Sunday, then lost to Ryan Joyce. So not a great weekend for him.
No, it's not. But again, he's at the Worlds, and I think that was his main aim really for last year. I mean, he didn't get into the match play. He might not get into the World Grand Prix or the Grand Slam or anything like that. But the Worlds, there will be a fight. The last event when he will get through to the last 16, last day, and he'll lose a really tough match with a seed, and it'll be a way to bow out. So I think he'll do well at the Worlds.
Well, fingers crossed. We hope so. Anyway.
Okay, Chris. If anyone wants to follow you on Twitter, what's your Twitter handle, buddy?
My Twitter handle is Oche Balboa 1.
Excellent stuff. Give Chris a follow on Twitter. Always good entertainment and really informative and insightful on all things darts. Chris, it's been absolutely fantastic to catch up with you again. Thanks for coming on the show.
Not a problem. It's been a pleasure, gents. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Chris. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Don't forget you can check us out on Facebook, the Josh's Dartistry page. You can also follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. And you can also go to our website, www.joshisdartistry.com, for all the latest news, blogs and information on the world of darts. Don't forget you can also call us and leave us a message on our voicemail box. That's 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329. Call our voicemail box, leave us a message, leave us a question, and we may play it on the show. Now back to the show.
Okay, it's now time for this.
Cool, what are the odds?
Right then, if you'll allow me, let me hand you over to a resident odds checker, Mr. Neil Connor.
Thank you, John. Okay, looking ahead to this week's Brisbane Darts Masters. Odds brought to us by Sporting Bet, as always. To win the tournament, slightly off-colour Michael van Gerwen. Odds against 6-5. So I think we've seen his odds move outwards since the last episode, where for all the tournaments we were reporting on, he was an odds-on favourite.
Josh, what sort of mood do you think MVG will be coming into to these events with what's gone on recently?
Difficult to tell, really, John. I think he'll have a point to prove, and I think he'll be determined to bounce back. I mean,
wounded animal, perhaps.
Yeah, usually the World Series events are not high on his priority list, with all due respect. I mean, they're not ranked events, they're not huge majors. But
good money, though, good money.
Exactly, and also it's more proving a point and getting himself back into form. I mean, he wants to send out a message to everyone that he's still the man to beat and he's still the best. We still know he's a level above in terms of what he's achieved over the last few years, but there are now a few question marks about his game, which are perhaps a little bit premature, but I think he'll be determined to bounce back. But then I thought that the World Matchplay, because he hadn't come into that in great form and he didn't produce there, so it'll be interesting to see.
It's the first time for a while that we've heard stats like, what did you say, last
12 games, yeah. That's including the World Cup as well, which obviously doubles. But yeah, 12 games about a ton plus average, I believe.
Yeah, normally when he's had a bad game, he comes back fairly quickly and fairly strongly. So maybe this is a bit of a test for the world champion.
Chinks in the armour, Neil, perhaps.
Could be indeed. Okay, so we spoke about Peter Wright. He is second favourite at 9-2. We've got Gary Anderson and Rob Cross at 7-1. Daryl Gurney at 14-1. James Wade at 16-1. Corey Cadby 28-1. And another local favourite, Simon Whitlock, 33-1.
Peter Wright's second favourite. I know we've touched on his resurgence in form recently, but I'm surprised he's down as second favourite, Josh.
To be fair, though, John, I think he's probably one of the most informed players, if not the most informed player in world darts. I mean, he was on a 20-match unbeaten run before losing to Gurney, and even when he lost, he averaged 104. Rob Cross, I think, is in great form, and he's defending champion in Brisbane, so he'll be determined to kind of retain his crown. But I think Peter Wright merits being second favourite, but he's a very unpredictable event. So relatively short format, I think best of 15. So it's hard to tell, but I think Peter Wright's got a great chance of winning at least one of these events.
Okay, Neil, what else you got for us, buddy?
Okay, so moving on to the BDO World Trophy. So this event takes place at the beginning of September. Josh, who do you think tournament winner? No clear odds-on favourite with the bookies.
Scott Mitchell's got to be up there.
Yeah, so Scott Mitchell, second favourite at 9-1. Wesley Harms is the favourite at 7-1. Looking a bit further down, Scott Waite's 10-1. Mikael Unterbuchner, 16-1.
Jim Williams anywhere?
Jim Williams, 14-1. Looking a bit further down again, Adam Smith-Neal, 20-1. If we're looking for an outsider, we've got Ross Montgomery at 50-1.
Okay, Neil, do you have the ladies' odds there for us for the BDO World Trophy?
Lisa Ashton at 5-2. Makuri Suzuki, 4-1. Fallon Sherrock, 6-1.
Go on, Fallon, my favourite.
Yep. Dieter Hedman, 9-1. Eileen de Graaf, 11-1. Lorraine Winstanley, 12-1.
Is Maria O'Brien taking part in that, do we know?
20-1.
Excellent stuff. Okay, Neil, let's move away from BDO. How has the World Matchplay affected the odds for the World Champs at the end of the year?
Okay, so as I said a bit earlier, we got used to seeing Michael van Gerwen odds on. He's actually drifted out to 7-5 now for the anti-post odds for the PDC World Championship. Rob Cross, interestingly, second favourite at 15-2. Gary Anderson 8-1. Peter Wright 10-1. And Michael Smith 12-1. Someone we've spoken about a lot on this episode, Glenn Durant 20-1. So he's someone that I think a lot of people will want to avoid in the draw, because he's clearly shown that he's got the capability on the big stage to beat the very best.
He's now in real contention of becoming a seed for that, which seemed awfully a real unlikely prospect when he first joined the PDC, but he's now on the verge of breaking into the world's top 32. But obviously if he does become, say, 29th in the world, he'll play the world number 4 potentially in the last 32, so that's when it could become difficult. But I'd imagine it'd be about 50-1 prior to the match play. I'd imagine those odds have shortened quite dramatically.
Josh, former BDO champions that have gone on to become PDC world champion, name them.
Ooh. Well, you've got Phil Taylor, obviously.
Yes.
Dennis Priestley.
Dennis Priestley,
Dennis
yeah.
Priestley.
You have John Part.
John Part.
Raymond van Barneveld.
Raymond van Barneveld.
Michael van Gerwen was not a BDO World
He
Champion.
was not.
No. Neither was Gary Anderson.
No, he wasn't.
And obviously Rob Cross wasn't.
Rob Cross wasn't.
And neither was Adrian Lewis.
So we've just got those
Yes. Taylor, Priestley, Part, Barneveld.
Okay, so what do we reckon on Durrant becoming the next one to join that elite band?
He's got a fantastic chance. He's got proven big game pedigree. He's shown that the match play can beat the best. He's beaten, 3 major champions, 2 of them being world champions, but it's awfully draw dependent. We don't know what form he'll be in coming into the event. He may, who knows, Michael van Gerwen 3 months ago was looking unbeatable. Now he's looking quite fallible, so the same could happen to Glenn Durrant, but right now I'd give him a fantastic chance.
Neil, anything else?
Well, just interestingly, Oche was talking about Barney and the fact that he thought he would do okay at the Worlds. 150 to 1.
There you go, Josh. You could earn a fortune out of that.
Could you? I mean, to be fair, Raymond, since coming back from the summer break, Raymond's form has dwindled a little bit. Obviously, he missed out on the match play, maybe a lack of match practice. He always seems to perform at Ali Pali, obviously barring last year's disappointment, but it's going to be his last ever tournament. He's going to be determined to go out on a high, but he's going to be unseeded, it seems, so he could run into, say, Van Gerwen or Anderson in his second round match, so if he gets there. So it's going to be tough for Raymond, but he's done it before, so you never know.
I think it's probably reflective of the odds, 150 to 1.
Yeah, you'd agree.
That he may be unseeded. And Players' Championship winner, number 22, Brendan Dolan, 250 to 1.
Got to the quarters last year as well.
He got to the quarterfinals in 2019. So, if you fancy an outsider, Barney or Dolan.
Okay, Neil, anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, wonderful. So if you've got some money burning a hole in your pocket and you fancy a flutter, hopefully Neil's given you some ideas there of where to put your money. Please, as ever, remember to gamble responsibly. And when the fun stops, stop.
Cool, what are the odds?
Hi, this is John Lowe, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay, Josh, as we mentioned at the top of the show, you had the opportunity earlier on today to speak to Wayne Mardle.
Yeah, awfully great to chat to Wayne again, John. He's always great value, really insightful. Spoke to Wayne about the World Matchplay itself, some of the talking points, who stood out, who underperformed. And obviously now we've got a real busy second half of the season to come after the summer break, so we got his thoughts on players to watch there.
Okay, let's have a listen.
Just a quick warning about this interview that's coming up with Josh and Wayne Mardle, folks. Unfortunately, the settings on Josh's phone went a bit haywire during the interview, and the sound quality is not what you're used to on the JDP. We can only apologise. We'll make sure we get that fixed, ready for the next episode and for Josh's next interview. So apologies for the audio quality on this interview. Do bear with it. It's a good, insightful interview from Wayne, and we'll have it fixed for next time. Enjoy.
Right, guys, I'm delighted to be joined here by a friend of the show, Wayne Mardle, to review the World Matchplay and plenty more. Wayne, thanks for joining us, mate.
No, thanks for having me, because most people kind of, they stay away from me knowing that all I do is just forever, so thanks for letting me have another spout.
No problem at all, mate. Spout away. Obviously, first things first, obviously talking about the World Matchplay, Wayne, I know obviously you're a former finalist there. It's a brilliant venue, the Winter Gardens. Would you say this year is one of the best match plays in recent memory?
It was a cracking field, there's no doubt about that. There was some exciting games, obviously. They're always it's just the format. The format kind of lends itself to that with it being legs. Yeah, it really was a great event. I thought that obviously there was upsets, there was results that you think you're going to go certain ways, and they did. But the upsets with kind of Michael and Gary, Peter Wright getting beat. Okay, got beat by what I thought was the performance of the whole tournament. That was Darryl Gurney. That was just one of the best games I've seen in a while. The matchup, they were at it constantly. Darryl and Peter Wright, just every single dart, every single leg.
Yeah.
You're thinking no one knew. You could never say even halfway through, do you know what, I fancy so-and-so in it. It was so hard to predict a winner. But as tournaments go, I think it went really well. The players are becoming more professional. They're becoming media savvy. Their game management's better. I thought it was a great event. And when you look at those winners in the past, when you look at Michael van Gerwen, Phil Taylor, and Gary Anderson, Rob Cross joins that list of winning the Worlds and the Matchplay. So, the rightful winner in the end.
No, definitely. And obviously Rob Cross, it was his first major title since lifting the World Championship, and he's been playing really well all year without getting the rewards off the UK Open final, the Premier League final. So just how important do you think it was for Rob to get another major under his belt?
I was talking to him quite a lot throughout the event, and I was saying to him, I said, look, in the world you had one of the best games that you could have had against Jeffries as well, and that was a fabulous result, and you played fantastically well. Okay, you ended up getting beaten in your trying to retain it. I said, but since then you've reached the final of the Premier League and the final of the UK Open, like you just said. I went, okay, none of those went your way. I said, but now you're in and this was kind of in the final again. I said, you're in another final. I said, you keep giving yourself a shot. One of them will land, you'll win. And he did. Look, you need that little bit of luck, and he had that with Darren Gurney. But you've got to do the right things, and Michael van Gerwen says it all the time, the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's why Rob Cross is the World Matchplay champion. And there's been a lot made of, oh, he's not won this, he's not won that, he's not even won on tour. If you look at the way he's been played, it's incredible he's not won.
Yeah.
He was averaging 98 for the year. That was above everyone, barring Van Gerwen. And he's still so tough to beat. And when I say still, I mean before winning the match play. You have to play very, very well to beat Rob Cross, whether it's over best of 11 or one of the match play formats, which was kind of slightly more elongated. He's definitely up there as one of the players to beat every single event.
And obviously Michael Smith just came unstuck in the final. He's now obviously appeared in the Premier League final, World Championship final, and now the Matchplay final, all in the space of about 15 months. Do you think it's just a matter of time before he gets a real big one under his belt?
Well, I've been saying it for years. I was probably one of, not saying that I know, but I was one of the first ones 5 or 6 years ago saying that Michael Smith is the one to break through, he's the one to win this, win that. Okay, he hasn't won one of the big ones yet, but he's getting so close, and it was the most outrageously dreadful start for him.
Yeah.
To go 9-0 down in that final. And I was looking at him thinking, oh, come on. And I just wanted him to play like he does. And he got back into it, but Rob Cross, he held him at bay, and he just kept him at arm's length. And when it was getting a little bit tight, he pulled away again. You can't give Rob Cross 9-leg start. I'm sorry. That's 3 sets, a completely different story.
Yeah.
In a race to 7, which effectively is what the final of the World Championships is. So the final of the match play, okay, so the leg. But you can't give Rob Cross 9-leg start. No one can. I really felt for Michael. I really felt for him. Knowing that he's come so close. And when you think about the way he's played in these finals, he's not played poorly.
No.
At all. He didn't play poorly in that final. He started off poorly and then got better. In the World Final with Van Gerwen, he had darts to win 4 of the sets he lost. And in the first final, when he played in the Premier League, Michael van Gerwen was averaging about 120 for the first 10 legs or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was. And Michael Smith played well there, so he's just been unlucky. I think it's a matter of time. I've got a lot of respect for his game. I'm meaning to actually phone him. I just think, do you know what? If he could slow down for a millisecond when switching from a treble or a single to a double, do you know what? He's waiting to explode.
Yeah.
He throws so quick sometimes. I know he's young. I know he's 100% right, but sometimes he just needs to slow that down when he's not following the previous start. He's waiting. If he won the world, it wouldn't surprise me.
Obviously, talking about Michael van Gerwen now, Wayne, it's not been the best of weeks, not a few weeks for Michael van Gerwen since winning the Premier League, really, back in May. I mean, he showed patches of his form against Glenn Durham, but against Steve Beaton, he wasn't particularly convincing. Do you think this is some sort of slump for Michael, or do you expect him to bounce back?
I expect him to bounce back, but like you said, the aforementioned Premier League was the last time he really kind of played well.
Yeah.
And against Glenn Durham, he looked panicked at times, but then he got himself in front. I think it was 10-9. And I'm not saying he got nervous, but he just seemed to to get that tiny bit within himself, rather than running through the finishing line, which is what he does. He seems to go into defensive mode, which is not what he's all about. Look, Glenn Durham was magnificent. I'm not taking anything away from him because he played great the latter end. Michael had the game there. I've never considered that Michael van Gerwen has ever taken a World Series event seriously. I think he has to right now. I think he needs to win one. He's had a poor 3 or 4 months, and he's got to put it right. He needs to win one of these World Series events coming up.
I mean, obviously, with Rob Cross now winning the match play, I think we've had 7 different major winners in the last 12 months. Do you think...
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a positive for darts, isn't it? It shows the strength in depth at the top level.
It does. It really does. There are a lot of players out there that are capable of winning. This interview is taking place the day after Brendan Dolan beats Jermaine Wattimena in a tour final.
Yeah.
So, look, anyone can win. And that's not putting those guys down. These are not winners of events in recent times. So, yes, on their day, there are dozens of potential winners. Once Gary Anderson, Michael van Gerwen, Rob Cross, and maybe Peter Wright get beat, and I might even include Darryl Gurney in that. But with the majors, we watched Nathan Aspinall crawl over the line against Rob Cross. Look, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. There are so many players that think, do you know what, I can win the major. And why shouldn't they think that way? Yeah, the game of darts is in rude health, but there's a lot of players also that need to start showing how good they really are on a regular basis. There's too many inside the top 16, 32 that are kind of getting away with it because their ranking is helping them. They need to kind of come out fighting.
Which players are you expecting big things from, or which players do you think really have something to prove in the second half of the season?
Well, we'll start with the ones that have something to prove. I've been in his corner the last probably 2 years thinking that, and I backed him last to win the match play. That's Ian White. Do you know what? After playing like he did in the match play, he's got a lot to prove. He was playing so well, winning on the European Tour, and I was one of probably thousands thinking, has it finally clicked? Has it dropped? Has the penny dropped for him, knowing how to win now? And he blows it again in the match play. It was an awful way for him to lose, missing double after double. But look, it happened. It's just a shame that Ian White seems to lose in the same manner so often. And I think he's got a lot to prove. I really do. He needs a good Grand Prix, and if he can get in it, which he will be in it, the Grand Slam through his Euro Tour wins. He's got a lot to prove. But as for people I see making a mark, with all the majors coming up, I'm going back to what I know. I think Peter Wright's playing great. Rob Cross has proven that he has to be just teeing it up anywhere, and he doesn't have to be near his best. Van Gerwen, Gary Anderson's got to get himself ready for big events because he clearly wasn't match ready. He wasn't match fit. He wasn't. His nerve was that little bit tethered in the match play. He needs to get ready. If those 4 or 5 that I've mentioned are ready for the Grand Prix, they'll be ready for the others, and I think they'll clear the ball. Michael Smith had in there as well, obviously.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So many thanks for joining us tonight, Wayne.
My absolute pleasure, Josh.
And have a good evening, mate. You too, mate. See you very soon.
Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry.
Josh, Wayne, great fun as ever, and plenty insightful.
Yeah, really enjoyed that interview, John. Obviously, Wayne was very good about Rob Cross, talking about how his performances throughout 2019 have merited a title. He's now got his rewards. Also enjoyed a bit about Michael Smith as well. Obviously, Michael's suffered real disappointment now. 3 big TV finals in the last 15 months he's lost out on. He's backing him to win one very soon, even the World Championships he mentioned. So, we'll have to look out for that. And obviously looking out at Ian White potentially for the second half of the year. He's got a point to prove after his disappointing performance at the match play, missing 5 match darts to beat Bunting to reach the quarters. Also, hopefully tipping Peter Wright and Rob Cross and Michael Smith for a big second half of the year. So we'll have to keep posted on that.
Yeah, great interview. As ever, a big thanks to Wayne Mardle for coming on the show and having a chat with Josh. You're always welcome on the show, Wayne, so thank you very much. And we look forward to chatting to you again.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for all the latest news and insight into the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329 and leave us a message, and we may play it live on air. Now back to the show.
Okay, it's now time for this.
Challenge Josh.
Yes, that's right. It's Challenge Josh time. Now then, Josh, you've had a good 2 months or so off of being hauled over the coals with regards to your darting knowledge. So are you feeling refreshed, vibrant and ready to go?
A few less grey hairs now, John, that's for sure, yeah.
Okay, on that basis, let's hand you over to a resident quizmaster, Mr. Neil Connor.
Okay, thank you, John. I've been looking forward to this one since the last one where he did rather well. So today we're going to revert to the old style 15 questions.
Oh, we're going
format.
old school.
We are going old school. As always, the difficulty level will increase as we go through the questions. So the subject matter for this episode's Challenge Josh is darting terms and slang.
Oh my word. How you feeling about that, Josh?
I'm not too confident, I've got to admit.
Okay, well, we'll see how you get on. I'm looking for a high score here after your summer break, and I'm backing you to get a full house, Neil, if I'm honest.
Full house?
Well, as a journalist...
Allegedly.
Yeah, but so we don't use slang. We're very professional in the journalism game.
Oh, we're very professional in the journalism game. We don't use slang. Such an elitist.
Bottom lips on the wobble already.
Okay, Neil, are you ready?
I am.
Josh, are you ready?
I am ready, John, yes.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and here we go with question number 1.
Nice, easy, gentle start. What is known as the madhouse?
Oh, double one.
Yeah, easy peasy, double one, Madhouse. Good start, and let's move it on to question number 2.
What is known as the basement?
Double three.
Sounded like where I used to live, if I'm honest, the basement. But that's 2 out of 2. It's a rip-roaring start from Josh, 2 out of 2. Let's move on, Neil, to question number 3.
What is a break?
When you win a leg against your opponent's throw.
Yeah, that is correct. Break a throw. Very, very simple.
I was going to say, what is a break a throw, but that wouldn't work, would it?
No. Neil, very easy to start off with. You've eased him in.
Yep, but let's see. Let's see where we go.
Okay, question number 4.
Game on. What is meant by that phrase?
It's the start of a leg. Or potentially a match.
Okay, and do you know what the actual meaning of game on is?
Well, yes, you to start the game.
It's up to you, Neil. It's your call. You're the quizmaster.
I think we'll give it to him, but I think there is... there's something that he hasn't addressed, but we'll give it to him.
Okay, that's correct. But let's get the finer detail on that then, Neil. What were you really looking
Game
for?
on is a call for silence at the start of a game.
Call for silence.
You don't hear that in most venues, do you?
I think it probably works in more for the sort of BDO tournaments than it does for the PDC. Okay, Neil, you've rather generously given him that. That's what, 4 out of 4, Josh?
Yeah, so far.
Okay, let's see if we can fox him with question number 5.
What is known as the lipstick?
That is a treble, I believe.
Treble 20.
Yeah, I should be more specific. Treble 20, yeah.
Okay, so that is...
But that's a very basic question for you to get wrong.
No, I was just not being specific on it.
He probably jumped on it a bit too early, got
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one wrong.
Yeah.
Let's move on then to question number 6.
What is meant by the phrase, a bag of nails?
That was a phrase used by Sid Waddell, I believe. It
Or
was...
bucket of nails?
Bag of nails usually refers to a really poor visit. Do I have to be more specific than that? Or?
Yes, you do. And John was saying this was easy.
Yeah, that's flummoxed me as well, if I'm honest.
A bag of nails is like, it's a bag of nails, it's a poor visit. You've missed, whether it's missed doubles or... Yeah, I believe it's a series of missed doubles. But
Okay, is that your answer?
well, you'd probably be wrong because you seem quite happy with that answer.
That is correct.
A bag of nails means you've landed all 3 darts in the ones.
Oh dear. Not a great visit. I'm quite good at a bag of nails. If bag of nails
That's
was an
every
Olympic
visit for
sport,
us.
yeah, I'd be right up there. Okay, Josh, what's the latest scores? You are
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6.
No, it's 4 out of 6. That's the last 2 you've got wrong.
No, you gave him correct for that last one.
No,
You
not
just
for the treble 20.
Yeah, that was the one he got wrong, and then he just got that one correct. So he's only got one wrong.
Well, he said it was a miss.
Right, you told me to play the correct. You told me to play the correct
Well,
note.
he's going to need all the.
Right, this episode of Challenge Josh is an absolute shambles. All right, can everybody play? I know we've had 2 months off. Everyone's had their feet up and not been worrying about it, okay? But we need to be professional here. How are we ever going to increase our listenership with this kind of nonsense going on? Okay, raise your game. Focus, please. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Right. Very angry. Let's move on to question number... I don't even know what question it is. 7. Let's move on to 7. Jesus.
What is meant by the phrase bed and breakfast?
Sounds like another place I've stayed.
Just to confirm, you have heard these used, haven't you?
I've heard, not commonly used, but I have heard of the phrase.
You've heard it in a darting context.
No, I have, yes, but I'm just...
Yeah, so have I.
Well, there's a word in there that is commonly used in darting terminology, obviously being the bed.
Yeah.
So what's the breakfast?
Well, that's the question.
Out the black, in the red, nothing in this game for 2 in a bed.
It's not Bullseye.
It isn't Bullseye, no. Jimbo in.
I had a question about Bullseye actually, while we're waiting for him. Do you know who was the last host of Bullseye?
Yeah, wasn't it? What's his name? The comedian, the northern guy. How has that escaped my mind? He's a good friend of Peter Kay's, isn't he? He used to support Peter Kay on tour.
So it was 2007, so
Yeah.
about 12 years ago.
No, you're going to have to tell me that now.
Dave Spikey?
Dave Spikey, of course it is, yeah, Dave Spikey. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, Josh, bed and breakfast.
I'm going to have to pass. I don't know this one at all.
That is incorrect. Neil, can you fill us in?
It is scoring 26 points, 1 in the single 20, 1 in the single 5, and 1 in the single 1. Incorrect.
That is your bed and breakfast, Josh. So that is incorrect. 2 wrong, mate.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Well, I told you this is not my game. This isn't, John. I'm in a bit of trouble here, I think.
Okay, that was question 7, Neil, yes?
It was.
Just getting past the halfway stage. Let's move on to question number 8.
So this one, I'm going to give you a bit of help. I'm going to give you 2 phrases that can be used to describe the same throw. Mm-hmm. They are champagne breakfast or grand slam.
A lot of breakfast talk around the table tonight. I'm starting to feel hungry.
Peckish.
But one question has kind of led to the other, so that's the clue for you.
Can you repeat that, please, Neil?
Yeah. So there are 2 phrases that describe this throw, a throw made up of 3 darts. Champagne breakfast or grand slam?
We mentioned the bed and breakfast was 1 in the single 1, 1 in the single 20, 1 in the single 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So I'm going to guess, I don't know, that it's 1 in the treble 20, 1 in the treble 1, 1 in the treble 5.
Yeah, simple logic applied to that. Well done, Josh. Well worked out. Neil, I'm impressed with that. He's worked that one out.
He's done very well there. I think without my hint, though, I think he probably would have struggled, but there you go.
Okay, nonetheless, that is correct. 2 wrong. Let's move on to question number 9.
Okay, question number 9. One word. What does it mean? Hat trick.
Is it 3 bullseyes?
Yeah, 3 bullseyes. Very rare. Don't often see that at all, do we, Josh?
Only in exhibitions, really, because if you're on 150 players, would never go that way, really.
No. But an impressive shot nonetheless. Okay, that was question 9. Still just the 2 wrong. Let's move on to question number 10.
One of my favourites, this one. A different phrase for you, Josh. Premature projection.
Well, we've all been there. We've all been there. Don't keep saying it.
I've never ever heard that phrase in a darting.
Josh has never suffered from premature projection, ladies and gentlemen.
No. So not when I'm playing darts.
I think you can hazard a guess at that though. There's enough. I've got enough info to hazard whether it's right or not. I don't know, but I could hazard a guess at the answer to that.
I could have done as well.
Anguish on his face, Neil. He's looking really pained at this. I'm going to throw in an answer after he's answered just to, see how I get on. See if I match the expert. Because after all, he is our resident expert.
Yeah, no.
Sky Sports blogger. Amateur darts player.
I am going to complete and utter guess.
Average cricketer.
Ironic. Ironic. I'm going to guess that it's I don't know. I can't get. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to pass.
That is incorrect. Neil, can I have a stab?
You can.
It's got to be something to do with releasing the dart too early, surely.
No, it's when you get excited and throw out of turn.
Throwing out of turn? How'd you throw out of turn?
When you throw and it's not your throw.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, but you wouldn't do it straight after your last 3. That must be at the start of a new...
Well, it could be at the start of a leg, couldn't it?
Yeah, start of a new leg. And you throw out a turn, I suppose, yeah. Because you wouldn't throw 3 darts in a leg and then go straight around and throw another 3, would you? You'd have to be pretty stupid to get that wrong.
I was going to guess something similar, but no.
I'd like you to guess a bit closer to the microphone if at all possible, so people can actually hear you.
I was going to guess... Well, I didn't guess in the end, but I didn't want to make myself look rather silly, but I was going to guess maybe when you're throwing for the wrong shots, like you want to, double 10, you're throwing for tops or something. I don't know, but no, I wouldn't have got that.
Well, that is another one wrong, Neil.
It is indeed. So what's that, 7 or 8?
7 out of 10, yeah.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. You are 2/3 of the way through, and you've got 3 wrong. And they're only going to get harder, I reckon, from this point onwards. And you've got another 5 questions to go. So let's see how he gets on, Neil, with question number 11.
If you were paddling or had wet feet, what would you be guilty of? I love this.
Paddling or wet feet. Again, a look of disgust on his face.
This needs to be a video cast next time.
What a ridiculous question. If you...
Let me repeat the question. If you were paddling...
I think Josh is paddling at the moment, isn't he, without much success?
If you were paddling or had wet feet, what would you be guilty of?
Wetting yourself?
Busting your score? I don't know.
That is incorrect, Neil.
You would be guilty of having one or both of your feet over the throwing line.
Wet feet or paddling?
The clue was in the question.
Yeah, makes sense, I suppose. You're talking about your feet and where they should be and where they shouldn't be. That's a good question, Neil. I like that one.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one.
So that's another one wrong, Josh. That's 4 wrong now. Wow, this is turning into an absolute shambles, isn't it? Okay, let's see if you can redeem yourself. Let's move on to question number 12.
What is known in darts as a patriot?
There's that face again. Do you know what this is going to be? I reckon this could be the worst ever performance on Challenge, Josh. This could be worse than the time that this could be worse than the time than the Raymond van Barneveld special that went down in the history of the JDP.
What, when he couldn't answer questions from his own articles?
Neil, can you repeat the question, please?
In darts, what is known as a patriot?
Not a clue. I've never heard of any of these phrases.
Well, I'm not even going to give him any more time. That is incorrect. Neil, what is a patriot?
A patriot is hitting a needed treble or ball with your first dart.
Patriot. You learn something new every day. Do you know what? I bet there's a lot of darts fans listening to this who knew the answer to that and are shouting the answers.
I don't think there will be.
No?
No.
I reckon some people would, particularly those who play in the sort of local leagues around the country. I reckon some people would have heard of those. So I certainly hadn't. Josh, you definitely didn't. Neil, were you aware of that before you set the question?
I wasn't. No.
So there's three supposed
amateur players,
darts players, and darts fans who had no idea. Okay, let's move on. Unlucky for some. Question number 13.
Okay, if you threw a bailout or Hail Mary, what would you have done?
You would have done a Zinedine Zidane. He's thrown a bailout recently, hasn't he?
Very good.
Very good.
Very good, John.
See what
very
I did there?
good.
See what I did?
Yeah, very good.
So if you were to throw a bailout or Hail Mary, what have you achieved?
What have you achieved?
A bail out or a Hail Mary?
Yeah, not so B-A-I-L.
Yeah, not Gareth Bale.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a clue. This is your third dart, and it's a bailout or a Hail Mary.
Where did you get these questions from, Neil?
I found them. Don't worry.
So you can only do this with your third dart, did you say?
Yeah. Bailout.
At first I was going to say bounce out, but I don't really think that applies now to a third dart. I'm going to hazard a complete and utter guess at a ton plus checkout.
That is incorrect. Neil, fill us in.
A bailout or Hail Mary is a third dart that miraculously scores a high treble when the first two darts combined have scored very low. A bailout. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, it bails you out of a poor visit. Okay.
Yeah. Rescue the situation, kind of, I suppose. Well, every day's a school day. I'm learning lots here. This is. There's a lot of new terminology here that I'm not au fait with. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wrong. 7 correct and 6 wrong. And we've only got 2 questions left. This has been an absolute massacre. Neil, let's move on to question number 14.
What is a black dog?
Josh is feeling a bit rough. He's absolutely barking. Are you passing straight away?
Yeah, no idea.
A black dog. I reckon a black dog is no score.
It's a double bullseye.
Double bullseye. Black dog. Never heard of it.
No, neither have I.
Never heard of it. Double bullseye. Anyway, it's another one.
If I had, I'd have told you.
It's another one in the incorrect column, I'm afraid, Josh.
No, that's fine, John.
You've not got a question right now in the last 5. So it's been an unmitigated disaster. Let's move on to 15th and final question.
Thank God
See if you can salvage something from this. You should be ashamed of yourself. Here we go. Question 15.
I'm going to make it a bit easier.
Oh, finally.
What is a round?
A what?
Round. R-O-U-N-D.
Josh doesn't know what a round is. He's never bought one in his life. That's why he doesn't know the answer. This reveals a lot, this, doesn't it? It reveals a lot. I just love the fact that he's sitting there going, what is a round? What is a round?
R-O-U-N-D.
A round is when you get your money out your pocket and you buy a round of drinks for your mates, Josh. Ring a bell?
Yes, it does, but unfortunately that's not in a darts context.
I don't know, there's a lot of drinking that goes on at the darts.
I'll just say that this one, so I went through all of the questions and I marked some as easy, some as medium, some as hard. I had this one marked as an easy question. And I think the last few have blown your mind to such a thing that you can't think of something obvious.
I'd like to hazard a guess at this, please.
You can take it for me if you want, John.
Are you declaring that as a pass?
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Incorrect. I'm just going to go very simple, like a round, round one of the World Championships, the tournament round number.
I'd probably have given you that for creativity, but it's basically a 3-dart turn.
Okay. I was thinking more the end of. I was going to say end of a leg. You finish your round. You finish your visit.
It's a collective term for your 3 darts.
3-dart turn, yeah.
And it's a round. That's news to me.
Well, usually people refer to it as your throw or your visit. You finish your visit to the board. But
anyway, that is incorrect. Okay, so you got 6 on the bounce wrong.
The great thing is, I've probably got 3 lots worth of this. So
part 2 and part 3 to come for episode 18.
But I think part 2 will put him up against the clock.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
Well, I shouldn't have too much trouble passing everything. I should get a few questions in time.
So, Josh, by my estimation, that is 7 out of 15. That's not even half right.
No, it's my worst one so far, I think.
Do you know what, folks? Keep your eyes peeled on Josh's website and on the Sky Sports Darts website as well for any match reports coming up from Josh.
Yeah, these terms will not be used.
I reckon you'll see some of these terms get slipped in now that he's been educated by Neil, and he's got some new darting terminology to use. What do you reckon?
I think I might get the sack if I use these terms in a report.
Okay, Neil, I think we can well and truly say you've completely outfoxed him this week.
Yep, I enjoyed that, and I did have some fun putting that one together.
I'm sure you did.
Absolute shambles, both in the knowledge of Josh and, of course, the presentation from all 3 of us around this table. JDP listeners, I can only apologise for the terrible standards on offer for episode 17. I suggest, gentlemen, we take a long, hard look at ourselves going forward and, not leave it so long next time to record the show because we're clearly well out of practice. Anyway, with that said, that is Challenge Josh.
Challenge Josh.
Hi, this is Rob Stud from Sky Sports, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Right then, it's time for your darting news roundup.
News.
Okay, Josh, first up, you're going to bring us news about the 2019 Champions League of Darts lineup.
Yes, John. Following the conclusion of the World Matchplay, the Champions League of Darts lineup was confirmed to be held in Leicester this year. The Morningside Arena, I believe, for the first time, which will be exciting. That'll be live on the BBC, I believe, in October time. So it's an 8-player event.
Darts on the BBC is always good for me.
Indeed it is. So it's an 8-player event, and the players are split into 2 groups of 4. Group A will be comprised of Michael van Gerwen, world number 1, Michael Smith, world number 4, Gary Anderson, world number 5, and James Wade, world number 8. Group B will be Rob Cross, obviously the world number 2, Daryl Gurney, world number 3, Peter Wright, world number 6, Gerwin Price, world number 7. So the top 2 from each group will then progress to the semi-finals, and obviously then it'll be the semi-finals followed by the final. So that is in October time.
How many days is that across that event?
It's just a 2-day event.
2 days.
So that's Saturday, October the 19th, Sunday, October the 20th.
So you've got 2 group games on Saturday, obviously one in the afternoon session, one in the evening. Sunday afternoon you've got the final group game. Sunday night is the semis and final. So that'll be in October.
Okay, Champions League, quite painful words for me. So
means nothing to me anymore.
Not something I really want to get too involved in. But Champions League of Darts on the BBC coming up. We're looking forward to that. I'm sure it'll be a great tournament. It's always been good fun since its inception. It's in its 3rd year, 4th year.
This will be its 4th year, yeah.
It's in its 4th
but
year.
But Michael van Gerwen's never won it.
Tickets well priced as well. So for the semi-finals and final, a table ticket will cost you £31 only.
That is excellent value.
Very reasonable.
When you consider that when the tickets went on sale for Ali Pally last week, and I went on the website and looked it up, and it's about 120 quid a ticket for some of the sessions, Neil.
Yep. So hopefully we're going to find someone that's going to sort us out.
After you've stitched me up on that challenge, Josh, I might not be able to anymore.
Obviously, we don't endorse these dodgy ticket websites, but we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm sure, Neil, you and I will be returning to Ali Pali. Josh, I'll take it you'll be there in some sort of work capacity, will you?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be there for a few days, if not the whole tournament.
Unless Sky Sports have listened to this episode of Challenge Josh and have decided that your services are no longer required.
Yeah, this summer might not upload itself to my website. It might have a few technical issues.
Okay, let's move on. Josh, you've got some news regarding, and something we seem to be discussing regularly on this show, Gerwen Price and the DRA.
Yes, as obviously we know earlier in the year, Gerwen Price received a record fine of £21,500 for his conduct in the 2018 Grand Slam of Darts. Now, Gerwen was quite vocal in saying that he will appeal it and he'll take it to the High Court if necessary. Well, he did appeal it, and the verdict has come back today, and he's had his fines reduced by £10,000 in total. He was obviously issued with a ban for his conduct against Simon Whitlock for bringing the game to disrepute, and a further £12,000 for the same breach against Gary Anderson. Now, both of those fines have been halved. He got £8,000 fine for the Whitlock incident, £12,000 for the Anderson. He was then fined £1,500 for the inappropriate post on social media. That remains unchanged. So obviously the total fine is now £11,500, but obviously reduced by £10,000. So a good success for Gerwen.
Well, you say a good success for Gerwen. When it first came out that he was going to be fined for those actions, he said he was going to fight it all the way. He said he didn't care if he had to pay £1 or £10,000. He had no intention of paying a fine. And has he commented on that today, or do we know if he's going to let it rest at that? Or
I'm not too sure. Maybe he won't. Like you said, he did say, to be fair, he didn't think he deserved any sort of fine. I think mainly due to the fact that Gary Anderson was also obviously involved in the incident, and Gary didn't receive any financial penalty. But I mean, we all said at the time we thought the fine was a little bit overzealous from the DRA, and although it's obviously not maybe what Gerwen wanted, at least it's some sort of acknowledgement that it was a little bit harsh.
Neil, what do you reckon? Do you reckon Gerwen Price should cut his losses and pay the reduced fine, or do you think he'll be challenging that again?
I think sometimes you're best to just let these things go. He's fought. What he doesn't want is this to carry on and sort of become a cloud over future tournaments.
He's been in pretty good form this year as well, hasn't he?
He has. He's played well,
in the
and he's improving year on year. So sometimes it's best just to draw a line and get on with it. But interesting to hear the figure of 8,000, which was the one that
for the Whitlock. That was for Whitlock, and 12,000 for Anderson.
Yeah, and when you compare that to that's the 8,000 for the winner of the World Darts Trophy for the BDO. It shows you the different scale of the two organisations.
It does. Although I'm just reading an actual statement from the PDC on this, and it says the appeals committee have ruled that Mr. Price is to pay a total of £2,325.24 towards the cost of the appeals process.
Oh wow.
So obviously, whilst he has had his fine reduced by £10,000, he's still incurred that penalty, if you like.
Admin fees.
For still appealing, which I find a little bit bizarre, considering the appeal has been successful in a way. I find that a little bit bizarre, but so there's still obviously, it's not quite £10,000 reduced because he's still got to pay the appeal.
Gerwen Price, is he still carrying around the pantomime villain moniker? What sort of crowd reaction has he had recently, Josh? Has a few of the boos silenced recently, or does he still get that a lot?
I think it's almost become part of the furniture now to boo Gerwen Price whenever he's on stage, really. But I think there's been a newfound respect for him for the way he's conducted himself. I mean, the Premier League, he got a lot of grief almost every venue he played at, apart from obviously Cardiff and Wales in his hometown. But I thought he conducted himself well. He didn't rise to the bait. Still played high-class darts. I think he's become a lot more popular with real darts fans, if you like. But obviously, that these who go to events, who aren't really there for the darts, more just for the social side of it. Obviously, they enjoy obviously giving Gerwen some grief, but I think he has found a lot of respect from the darting community.
Okay, let's move it on. Josh, you're going to bring us some news regarding JDP favourite Paul Lim and Lawrence Alagan.
Yep, we all love Paul Lim, and great news that he'll be returning to the Alexandra Palace stage in December. He won an Asian Tour event recently, and that means that him and Lawrence Alagan, who we saw at the World Cup of Darts for the Philippines, they are the top two on the Asian Tour Order of Merit, and they cannot be caught. The top two on the Asian Tour, if we qualify for the World Championship, so they'll be there. Alagan lost to Vincent van der Voort last year, but played really well. Obviously, Paul Lim, we all know what he's capable of on the World Championship stage. They'll both be there, so great news.
Paul Lim must be up there when it comes to records in terms of appearances at Ali Pali. Josh, I would think he's up there alongside the Taylors of this world.
I think I saw a tweet from Burton DeWitt, a great darting statistician, that I think Paul Lim's this will be his 12th PDC World Championship, and I think he competed in 12 BDOs. I think that's only bettered by Steve Beaton and Raymond van Barneveld in terms of, obviously, the amount of appearances in both the BDO and PDC. I'll have to research that for definite. But yeah, after incredible longevity, I mean, you think that 9 darts was way back, over 3 decades ago now. So yeah, he's still playing high-class darts. He's almost getting better with age, which is remarkable.
Okay, so here on the JDP, we of course wish Paul Lim and Lawrence Ilagan all the very best for the PDC World Championships come the end of the year. Josh, any more news items for us?
No, not obviously we covered the BDO in our discussion with Oche, so that's all for this week, John.
Excellent stuff. That is your news roundup.
In the news.
Hi, it's Adrian Lewis, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Okay, we're nearly at the end of the show, but before we go, we've just time for this. That's right, it's time for Josh's Twitter chatter, where we ask you, the JDP listener, to send in your questions for the team, and we will do our best to answer them. Hopefully Josh will do a little bit better at answering these questions than he did in the questions for Challenge Josh.
So there's no mention of black dog, so I think I might have more of a chance this time, John.
If you want to ask a question, get in contact with us via the Josh's Dartistry Twitter account. That's at Josh's Dartistry, and we'll all do our best to answer them. Josh, let's get cracking. Friend of the show and mug winner, I believe, Jeffrey Flex. He asked the following: are we about to enter the most open period of major winners ever? 1970s, Alan Evans. 1980s, Bristow. 90s/2000s, Taylor. 2010s, MVG. 2020s, anyone's for the taking? ? Josh, what's your thoughts on that, buddy?
I think Jeffrey's right. I think we're already seeing a very open era in terms of new major winners. I think in the last 12 months we've seen 7 different major winners. Obviously, Gerwin Price at the Grand Slam. We saw Wade win a couple last autumn. We've seen Aspinall, Cross, Anderson, Van Gerwen all over the last 12 months. So the strength and depth in world darts now is in a great place. Obviously, Van Gerwen has dominated for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I still don't see Michael van Gerwen being usurped at the top of the Order of Merit, but I think with so many events now, the demands are so grueling that it's going to be tough to be at the top consistently. So I think, we're going to see a very open period. There's a lot of top players all contending for major honours, and I don't see that ending. Obviously, Daryl Gurney, another one. So 7 major winners in the last 12 months. I think that's going to continue.
Neil, major winners, do you see it being evenly spread out amongst a group of people in the next 10 years, or do you see MVG dominating like he has done?
I can see it being spread out, as Josh said. I think there have been a number of different winners over the past couple of years. Whilst he's had a little bit of a dip in form, I still see him as the primary contender in all of this. So maybe not as dominant as he has been over the past few years, but I still see him being the number one.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I don't see Michael van Gerwen taking his foot off the gas anytime soon. Yep, there's a few bumps in the road. Of course, there is. Even the mighty Phil Taylor, back in the day, didn't win every major competition.
No, of course not.
He won the large majority. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't win them all. So I would expect to see Van Gerwen continue in that vein and doing what he does best.
Yeah, and obviously, we still say he had a little bit of a slump over recent weeks, but in 2019 he's won the World Championship, he's won the Masters, and he's won the Premier League, 3 big major tournaments. So even when he's not been at his best, he's still dominated to an extent. So I can't see that anyone stopping him or becoming, as Neil says, the primary contender. Michael van Gerwen is still unquestionably the man to beat.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Helen Ward, friend of the show, regular listener. Helen, hope your county games are going well and you're performing well on the Oche. Helen asks, with new venues, new sponsorship and TV deals in place for the World Trophy, World Masters and World Championships, do you think the BDO can now attract the audience it needs? Or, with some of the best players having moved to the PDC, do you think people have lost interest? Neil, I'm going to throw this over to you. Helen's asking whether the BDO can attract the audience it needs to kick on, or people losing interest in the BDO. What do you reckon?
I think the BDO will always have its stalwarts and fans that will continue to follow the BDO. Now, if they're to catch the imagination of the public, they are going to need to look at new ideas. And I think what we've seen with the recent announcements about changes in venues, particularly looking at the O2, those are the sort of things that can really make a difference. And it's all about finding a formula that appeals to the public. Barry Hearn has managed to do it, and then some with the PDC. So the BDO have got to, as I say, try and stumble across a formula that's going to help them. I think this is a positive change for the BDO, and I hope that it will encourage new support just to add to the stalwarts that are continuing to follow it.
Josh, the accusation of the BDO in recent years has been that they've just stood still for a long time and not evolved and moved with the times. With the announcements that Neil's just mentioned there, I think, fair play to them. There are some changes there. They are looking to evolve, progress, do things slightly differently, challenge the norm, whether that's with different venues. Obviously there's a change of lineup on officials and referees coming. That's not a decision they've really made. It's kind of been forced upon them. But yeah, where do you see this? Where do you see the BDO right now and across the next 5 years? Is it going to maintain its support? Is it going to lose support, or do you see it growing?
I don't even see attracting new fans as a major issue. Obviously, it's always great to attract new interest, but I think you've seen in terms of when the BDO World Championship's been on over the last few years at the Lakeside, it's always been a capacity crowd. They've never had trouble filling the Lakeside. So I don't think it's a lack of fans, but I think obviously, in terms of the World Trophy, we talked to Oche earlier, and I think last year and this year, the announcement in terms of the venue came less than 7 weeks before the tournament started. So in terms of being able to sell tickets and market the event properly, you think the PDC World Championship, as you mentioned, looking for tickets now, that starts in December and tickets are already on sale. Yeah. So it needs to be marketed better and really, promoted, give it the exposure it deserves. And I think if that's the case, then I see no reason why the BDO can't continue to be a success. But obviously, positive news, I think, with the Circus Tavern being an iconic venue, that for the World Masters. Obviously, the World Championship moving to the Indigo at the O2, that's a positive move, I think, because obviously the Lakeside is a great venue. It's synonymous with the BDO World Championship. So, obviously, the element of sadness there, but it's a new era.
I think the issues that the BDO have had, Josh, are more on a sort of administrative level, as you say.
I agree,
getting the announcements out about venues and when tickets go on sale, that hasn't helped. It's been it's led to a lot of negative press, self-inflicted, I think, a little bit, and they need to pull their socks up on that kind of thing. But when you look at the events themselves, when the events are taking place, whether it's the ones that are being shown on Eurosport or not, I think the quality of the darts is there, very, very good. I've been very impressed with it. I think it's pulled its socks up there. The way the tournaments have run, the television coverage, I think they've been very, very good on the whole. It's just the back of house admin that seems to let them down time and time again.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the World Trophy last year when Glenn Durrant played Michael Unterbuttner. It was a great final in terms of standard, but hardly anyone watching. And that doesn't look good for your product. You see the PDC, the Premier League, week in, week out, thousands and thousands of people there, venues selling out within minutes. Rotterdam sold out within 10 minutes this year for the Premier League. And then you're seeing, a major BDO event with about 30 or 40 people there. So that's where they need to improve. And if they can, I see no reason why they can't continue to function well.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eyes on the BDO and see how that unravels. But Helen, hopefully that's given you our opinion on that. Let's move on. Not just a friend of the show, but former guest and guest presenter, a guest host on more than one occasion, Jordan Harrison. He's been in touch on Twitter, and he asks, is Smith in danger of becoming another nearly man a la Wright? Or do you see him winning multiple majors? Now, personally, I'll take a little bit of an issue with this question. I think calling Peter Wright a nearly man is a little bit harsh.
Yeah,
he's a major winner.
He is a major winner. A little bit harsh. Yes, he's had a dip in form for the start of the year, but we have already mentioned that his form has improved since the Premier League finished. But Josh, Smith, danger of becoming another nearly man, yes or no?
Not for me, no. I mean, I think you look at the strides Michael Smith made in his game, not just in terms of the standard of his play, but the mental side of his game. He's always had the talent since winning the World Youth Championship, but I think he's matured so much as a player. I think, you look at the fact he was 9-0 down against Rob Cross in the final. A few years ago, he'd have given up the ghost and dropped his head, but he really fought back and showed great tenacity, and I think he has improved that aspect of the game, and that's why he's been in 3 major finals. You look at those finals, well, he's also been in the World Series of Darts finals, which people forget. That was against James Wade where he mismatched darts, but he's lost 2 major finals to Michael van Gerwen, 1 to James Wade, 1 to Rob Cross, all quality operators. Michael Smith's still only 28 years old. He's got a hell of a lot of time ahead of him, and I think it'll be a case of the floodgates opening when he gets that first one under his belt, and I don't think it'll be long before he does.
Neil, I know you're a fan of Smith. I know you're a fan of his game and the man himself. I'm sure you would disagree with that sentiment as well, would you?
Yeah, I would. I think he's immensely talented, and I think he's too talented to not eventually get over the line. Seems to have, as we alluded to with Oche earlier, a bit of an issue with nerves at the start of games. But I think what you'll find is once he gets off to a flyer in one of the finals, he'll probably go on and win quite convincingly. The talent's there. He was fabulous at times during his comeback during the final against Rob Cross. So he'll do it, and I think he'll do it fairly soon as well.
Okay, thanks for the question, Jordan, and we look forward to having you back on the show. I'm sure we'll get you on the show soon and get your views. Okay, last question, Josh. Ian Bithell on Twitter, @officialbithell, has been in contact. He says, why does the PDC not buy the BDO and make it a feeder/merit-making league? This is a theory that I've seen bandied around before. Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe Barry Hearn about a decade ago now did make an offer to buy out the BDO, and it was rejected quite comprehensively. So I think that ship has sailed. I don't think Barry Hearn will be doing that. But if you like, the PDC have almost imitated the BDO in terms of the Challenge Tour format. That is their feeder league. Those who miss out at qualifying school and don't get a PDC Tour card, they can compete on the Challenge Tour, and then when they're ready to make the step up to the full Pro Tour, then they do so. So
there's also youth events now as well, isn't there? You know, the PDC
exactly,
have
development tour, yeah,
development tour. That's right.
And then they had the World Youth Championship, which I think is now bigger and better than it's ever been. I think 96 competitors in the World Youth Championship. So for the PDC side, there's no real need to make the BDO a part of their feed league. They've already got that in place with the Challenge Tour Development Tour. But I do believe the PDC is better for having the BDO around. As you say, competition is important, and amateur darts is massive. I mean, if you haven't got the BDO, it's a big jump. If you're an amateur darts player with aspirations of becoming professional, you can't just make the jump straight away to the PDC Tour. Yes, there's the Challenge Tour. So I think the BDO is a very important part for darts in general. Although I think that ship has sailed with the PDC buying into the BDO. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think it's still important to make that distinction, isn't it, between the PDC and the BDO. The PDC is the professional game, the BDO is the amateur game. People who are taking part in the BDO, although that figure's probably reduced a bit now, I would say the larger majority of people are still, working jobs and not concentrating on their darts full time as their career, and therefore it's very difficult for the BDO to sort of players to come on board with the PDC and be, whether you want to call it their proving ground or their development area. I don't think it really works like that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And to be honest, the top end of the BDO, I think we've seen with Glenn Durant this year, is he's gone straight to the top of the PDC game effectively. All right, he's not number one in the rankings yet, but he's been very successful so far. So yeah, so the PDC is a step up. That is your pathway, if you like. You can move from the amateur game in the BDO to the professional game in the PDC, but even it's not that easy to secure your tour card on in the PDC either. So for the spirit of competition, I think it's very important that they remain separate for now.
Yeah, you mentioned it's not easy to get your tour card. That was illustrated with Glenn Durant. He only got his tour card. He didn't win it outright. He won it on the order of merit, but He survived 3 match darts on the 4th day of Q School against Matthew Dennant. If Matthew Dennant had hit those darts, Darren wouldn't have got a tour card. Yeah. And now you look at
fine margins, isn't it?
And now he's gone on to win 2 Players' Championship titles and reach a match play semi-final. And you look at the top players in the PDC now; all of them are former BDO players virtually. Michael van Gerwen, former BDO. Rob Cross had a few tournaments in the BDO, but he's one of the exceptions. But then you look at Daryl Gurney, Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, all of them. Virtually, I think 12 of the top 16 have all played in the BDO at some point. So the BDO is a massive part of darts today.
Did James Wade ever play BDO?
I believe he did. I think he was similar to Rob Cross, James Wade. I think Cross, the year before he won the PDC World Championship, I think he attempted to qualify for the Lakeside and he didn't qualify.
Right.
So I think he dabbled in the BDO circuit, but I think Adrian Lewis didn't compete in the BDO. I might be wrong there. But yeah, the vast majority of the top 32 and the top 16 all competed on the BDO circuit. And you see Scott Waite still in the BDO. He won a PDC major, the Grand Slam of darts. Scott Mitchell's competed in the Grand Slam and done well. So there's some quality operators in the BDO. But while the amateur game is there, the BDO is massive.
Okay, Ian, well, hopefully that answers your question. Once again, folks, thanks for sending in your questions. Really good questions this week, and we'll always do our best to answer them. Just get in contact with us via the Twitter account that's at Josh's Dartistry, and that is Josh's Twitter chatter.
Hello, I'm John McDonald, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Right then, gentlemen, that brings us neatly to the end of the show. Can I suggest we don't leave it so long next time? 2 months off has done us no good. We're well out of practice.
I agree, yes. But awfully, like I say, we've got a little bit of a break now in terms of the Pro Tour, but still World Series events. I'm sure we can kind of, get back onto the table after the World Series events and round them up.
Yeah, and Challenge Josh is already ready, so...
Is it more darting terms?
I think more of the same.
Oh, please, God. I might, maybe do leave it that long, John.
Anyway, to you, the JDP listener, thanks for downloading the show. Thanks for taking the time. If you can go on iTunes and leave us a review, 5 stars, of course, that'd be absolutely wonderful. If you know anyone who enjoys darts and is looking for a darting podcast, please do spread the word. And we do this show for you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it. So spread the word around. We'll keep our eye on the World Series events that are coming up down under. We look forward to those. I'm sure we'll be. Josh, will they be available to watch? Are they on ITV?
ITV4. I don't believe they'll all be live because they're in Australia. So I believe they'll be showing
delayed
highlights.
Coverage,
delayed coverage, yes.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, we look forward to that anyway. Check us out on social media, guys. You know the places. You know where to find us. You know where to check us out. And we look forward to bringing you episode number 18 in the not-too-distant future. Neil, thank you for your time.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, John, as always.
I'm John, and we'll see you again soon.
Josh's Dartistry.